Hello everybody, and today we are going to be taking a look at the main prize for the Normandy 1944 event, the T-86 amphibious tank. Now I should get one thing out of the way, this was not involved in Normandy in 1944, indeed this was not involved in any amphibious operation in World War II because this was a prototype tank. There were two prototypes, the T-86 which moves through water via its tracks, and the T-86E1, which uses a propeller, or two propellers. But that was not particularly very successful, so Gaijin has gone for the initial T-86 variant. And this is basically an amphibious tank based on the M18 Hellcat. So obviously that vehicle is very fast, and so is this one. Because despite being 2.7 tonnes heavier, it still has a top speed of 45 miles per hour on 6 gears going forward, and a reverse speed of 13.4 miles per hour on 2 gears going backwards. So it is technically slower than the M18, about 5 miles per hour slower in forward and just under 3 miles per hour in reverse, but it's still a pretty speedy tank. And you can also see that it is a very large tank. We'll show that off in the testing ground in a minute, but this is an absolutely huge target, which is not particularly good because it has very bad armour. So if we go to the protection analysis for a second, and we go to the Calliope, not for the rockets, not for the guns, but for its coaxial machine gun. And at 500 metres, there is a chance of penetrating its armour. If we go down to about 300 metres, and yeah, your bullets are going to go straight through this. Now, they aren't going to do a huge amount of damage because they are ultimately light machine gun bullets, but you can absolutely penetrate and do damage to the crew and internals of the vehicle. And of course, because they're machine guns, you can fire a whole bunch of them. And like I say, that's just with a coaxial machine gun. Fire at it with a regular shell, and yeah, you're going to do a whole bunch of damage. Even a regular HE shell from a 75mm gun is going to do a huge amount of damage to this vehicle, just knock it out in one hit probably. And as you can see in the internals, the crew is still 5, but they are spaced out a whole bunch more than on the regular M18. And we still have the 76mm gun. And interestingly, it comes with a vertical gun stabiliser, which I don't think the regular M18 does. So that is obviously going to help when firing on the move and at sea. So we're going to take this out for a quick test drive just to show off how it does. So here we are in the testing ground, and as you can see, it is an absolutely huge tank. And there is the driver view. And one thing you might have noticed pretty quickly, while this does technically have a very good top speed of 45 miles per hour, it is very sluggish at accelerating to that top speed. So with the Hellcat, I'd usually be north of 30 miles per hour by the time I hit that bridge. And I'd be able to get to the top speed of 50 miles per hour long before I reach that hill over there. With this, it seems like I need the entire run up to that hill to get to our top speed of 45 miles per hour. You can also see the vertical stabiliser is doing some work. Obviously, as we get to a higher speed, it is less and less effective, but at lower speeds, it does seem to do very well. We're just going to drive up to that King Tiger just to show you the size of this vehicle, because, yeah, it is absolutely huge, which I know I've already said, but, yeah. This is going to be an absolutely huge prominent target in-game. We was about to reach 40 miles an hour. But as you can see, like with the Hellcat, I would be at 50 miles per hour by this point. And yeah, if we include the gunner, well, the commander, we are actually taller than the Tiger II. If we don't include the commander, we're about the same height. Like I say, this is an absolutely huge target. And as we saw, most of it is not particularly well armoured. The turret is basically the most armoured bit about it, and that only comes up to about 20-25mm. So yeah, this is going to be an absolutely ludicrously easy tank to knock out. So we've just gone back to the beginning because we're going to quickly test this in the water. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there was technically a second variant of this, the T-86E1, which uses propellers to get through the water. This just uses its tracks. And that was considered the better way of doing it, or the propellers just didn't provide enough benefit because they were a lot heavier, so they weighed the tank down even more. And as you can see, we've got some deployable bits on the tank here. Unfortunately, they don't seem to be solid, so this should, in theory, prevent us from firing straight back, but no, we can just put the barrel straight through it. It doesn't block our sights either. So, yeah, that's going to need fixing at some point. You can see the rudders moving about there as well. There's the driver's view in the water as well. We'll go back to the gunner's view. And as you can see, it is a remarkably stable gun platform. There's no movement here. And yeah, admittedly, that is because we are moving quite slowly, but still, we are on water. And if we fire the gun, yeah, so it makes us wobble about a little bit, but for the most part, it seems to stay generally on target. So yeah, this is going to be a very effective amphibious tank. I don't think it'll be quite as effective on land as the regular Hellcat, just because it's got less acceleration and its armour is even worse. But I think it will do decent enough. I could easily see it going down to 5.7, possibly. I mean, I have to see how Gaijin feels about that, gameplay stats and the like. And so that is the T-86. And yeah, it seems to be like it's going to be a very decent amphibious tank. Hopefully we can get some more tanks like it in the future. Of course, there is the T-87, which is basically a very similar version of this with a shorter hull and a 105mm howitzer. Britain also had a very similar looking tank, or very large tank, in the medium tank AT-1. So hopefully we can get something like that as well in the future, as an event vehicle or even as a regular vehicle. And yeah, I could see this being a very popular vehicle for people to unlock. I might unlock it. It really depends if I've got the time. I just haven't really had much time to go on War Thunder lately, so I possibly won't be going for it. But I'll have to see how things pan out in the future. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Hopefully you'll join me for future ones. I've been Tyranno, and I'll see you next time.